urges, that information is not coming forward. So when they offer you this, gristle or these bones as opposed to the meat and potatoes, then you know there's much more to the story than what they're telling. And we clearly know that the Black Guerrilla family, in terms of them talking about the cell phones, talking about the use of contraband in terms of marijuana, but they're not controlling the time they get up to the time they go to sleep. And the real contracts we got to be asking, like people like Bob Barker Incorporated, that, of course, you just go to the website. They provide everything from the socks to the tops, man. They provide everything from the mops to the tops to the brooms and everything else, man. They provide the mattresses. They provide everything inside of the institutions. Is that Bob? We call him Mr. Bobo. Y'all know what I'm saying? From the toothpaste to the combs to the flip-flops to everything else, man. Even down to the toilet tissue. So if we're going to talk about it, let's expand the envelope, man, and look at the bigger picture regarding what's been going on in central booking and not allowing those to try to limit the conversation or sex the story up, as I said before, and just make you think that it's only about a handful of black women and black men having sex inside of central booking. And then you have some people talking about we got to clean it up. Well, them women and men weren't worrying about it being clean in terms of laying on them dirty floors. Laying on them dirty floors, man. But it becomes an indictment on your governor, becomes an indictment on, again, as I said before, the Secretary of Public Safety, Gary Maynard, and, of course, on supervisors, on lieutenants, on colonels, on warden, deputy wardens, whoever else is in those higher positions. But if you notice, none of their names are mentioned in the article. None of their names have been mentioned in these articles. So that's the question you got to ask, man. Who is protecting these individuals? Who is protecting these names? And, of course, we finally see that one of the suspects, or the one they alleged to be the ringleader, the king or the ringleader, Tavon White, is a lawyer. So one name is Gary Proctor here in Baltimore, and the other one is Peter Goldman out of Alexandria, Virginia. So we'll have to maybe look at what are the connections of Gary Proctor and what's the connections of Peter Goldman, man. Because, again, you got to look at the bigger picture and ask, where did the money go? Did they freeze any bank accounts? Did they freeze any bank accounts? Who are the accountants that was working for these individuals, man? As the old saying goes, follow the money. Follow the money. But if they don't want you to follow the money, then you know there's much more to the story that they don't want you to know regarding what was going on, again, as I've said, in central booking. But let me open up the lines. Take your thoughts, questions, comments, man, as our time won't allow me to read this entire article. But Maynard praised as a tough, capable prison administrator when he doesn't seem to stay at too many places too long, coming out of Oklahoma, coming out of Iowa, coming out of South Carolina. But rather than put him under the microscope, they want to put, according to this article, authorities, gang co-opted the guards, and they want to put, of course, Tavon White and others under the microscope. Not that I excuse the behavior of Tavon White, but he is an inmate. The question is, how could he stay over there for 4 years, man? How could he stay over there for 4 years unless somebody wanted him to stay there? How could he and others stay over central booking for 4 years? And you don't have corruption over there. I mean, you done had prison officers. You done had correctional officers come and go. You've had administrators come and go longer than he's been over there in central booking. He's been over there probably as long as Gary Maynard been the Secretary of Public Safety. And nobody's called for an investigation to look into that. And how many others are sitting over there? But this was your governor when he was the mayor that talked about Governor Ehrlich and how Ehrlich was running central booking. But that's the pot calling the kettle black. Or that's the Pixie cup calling the Dixie cup white, man. But let me open up the lines. Take your thoughts, questions, comments. And we're still talking about Jason Collins breaks the gay barrier. So rather than the NBA, I guess it's the NGA now. It's the NGA rather than the NBA at a time when, as I said before, it's a disrespect to Muhammad Ali that he could have chosen any other time to come out. The Sports Illustrated could have chosen any other time to write that story. But a time that they should have had Muhammad Ali on that front page talking about his stand, they bring you Jason Collins, man. They bring you Jason Collins. And I'll talk about it in a few days because I believe there's even more to this story and the reason why they want to try to push this on the American people right now. No more than a diversion story as well. But let me come to the line. Take your thoughts, questions, comments on this. And, of course, getting back into central booking Because I'm going to have to take one day where I can really just fillet this story and open it all up in terms of looking at, again, the damage control that the Sun paper's doing, looking at the motivation of Gary Maynard, looking at your motive of the governor and others that not want to stand up and take responsibility. Where's the deputy? Where's the lieutenant governor, Anthony Brown? If you notice his silence, where's the attorney general, Doug Gansler? And they're supposedly going to be the ones that's going to run for governor. If you notice their silence, where's Delegate Kiefer Mitchell? Have you noticed his silence on this, man? Have you noticed his silence on this, Delegate Kiefer Mitchell and others that have been silent about this issue as well? But let me come to the line. Take your thoughts, questions, comments, 410-761-1592. Getting back into the desperate housewives of Central Booking or Central Hooking going on down there. And don't let me catch some of you calling up on one of the other shows trying to basically imitate what you hear Brother Muhammad say. So I hear some of you, that's all you can't wait till my show go off. So you can go use what I say on some other shows. Stop it, man. If you're going to quote me, then tote me. Tell them you heard it and got it from Brother Muhammad. Please stop it. Say, will a man rob God? You rob him every opportunity you get. As C. Miles would say, you're a perpetrator. You sucker perpetrators. But let me come to the line. Take your thoughts, questions, comments. Good afternoon, caller. You on the State of the City.
Brother Muhammad, the only comment I could care less about that guy in the NBA. I'd never even heard of the guy before.
Yes, sir.
But the coming out was for Muhammad Ali to come. Can you imagine the courage it took for him to come out at that time and say he's not going to Vietnam?
That's right, brother.
He's not going to Vietnam. He said, you might as well open a jail cell.
That's right, brother.
I'm not going.
Yes, sir.
You know, whatever y'all got to do it.
That's what he said.
And you know, and that you know, he could have made millions of dollars.
Right. That's
but
right.
he gave it up.
And was stripped of his title, but he gained his title back. So history, of course, rewards Muhammad Ali.
They rewarded.
But because many of us don't know our history, then we say, well, wait a minute. Why would they do it on this weekend of all weekends, on this day of all days, man?
And it had to be, and naturally, you know, they don't give credit for a black man for nothing else.
That's right.
But they won't give him credit for coming out.
They didn't say Muhammad Ali the peace athlete. You understand?
I know.
Enough. But this one is they say the definite article the. They don't say a gay athlete. You understand?
No.
So notice what it says to black men that if somebody wants to talk, then Bruce Jenner should have came out the closet. Greg Lou Gaynors came out they not pictured. Michael Phelps should come on out the closet, but they don't say the gay athlete with them, right?
No.
The black man is the gay athlete.
This is one black nobody.
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you.
All right, brother. Appreciate your call. We'll take more of your calls. 410-761-1592. You can get in where you fit in and fit in where you get in on the conversation. Good afternoon, caller. You on the State of the City.
Brother Durham Howard.
Hey, soldier. How are you?
Yeah, I just want to get this straight for the white folks. They always talk about Muhammad Ali was a draft dodger. He wasn't a draft dodger.
That's right.
He confronted these people and told these people he's not going to war.
Yes, sir.
I wish they'd get it straight.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to get it straight because they clearly don't want to get it straight. You understand? So we got to protect that history and respect our history, brother. Please continue.
Yes, sir. And another thing about that, Gary Maynard, he was handpicked by Martin O'Malley. That's why nothing's going to happen to him.
Yes, sir. Clearly, brother. Right.
He's clearly picked by Martin O'Malley. You know, they used those sisters and that brother as a scapegoat for what they want to really do.
Yes, sir.
They want to privatize the whole Central Booking and Detention Center.
Yeah, they clearly may come in with some type of private security, brother, to run Central Booking, but they don't want you to expand the envelope, ask about the accountants, as Judge Kenneth LaVon Johnson did years ago with that grand jury report, looking at the lawyers, looking at the judges and others that handled their cases that maybe, of course, released some that shouldn't have been released, and then allowed, you know, Tavon White and others to stay at Central Booking as long as they stayed at Central Booking, and then looking at supervisors and those in these upper echelon positions that were ultimately responsible for them rank and file women and men that are there in Central Booking. So, you know, clearly this is what we see going on, brother. Some of us are not blind. We're not with the National Federation of the Blind, but clearly those that were supervisors had to be some members of the National Federation of the Blind, no pun intended, if they couldn't see drugs coming in, if they couldn't see cell phones coming in, and then they got cameras down there. So the question is, again, who's mining and who's the captain of the ships down there, man? All right, brother. Appreciate your call.
One more quick thing I want to say, brother.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way that when you come uptown, I can get one of those Steven dolls? Because I clearly have to get one out to certain supervisors at the recreational park.
Yeah, we got to do that, brother. All right. Appreciate your call. Thank you, now. Again, we'll take more of your calls, 410-761-1592, man. But again, as we're looking at this issue, part 2 or part 3, if the gangs, of course, were made, or as they say, made to jail, then who got paid, who got played, who got laid? I think we already know that. And who got made in terms of the made men? In terms of the made men. When they say made men, you're talking about like an initiation, like in your fraternity, in your sorority, in your gang initiation, in your lodge, talking about a made man, meaning that he's going to be one of ours when he come through the door, or she going to be one of ours when they come through the door. But let me come back to the line, take your thoughts, questions, and comments, 410-761-1592. But we got to follow the money, as the old saying goes, from the top to the bottom, and know that this is not confined to Baltimore City. So for, again, the Sun paper, the news media want to confine it to Baltimore City. How many institutions we have around the state of Maryland? This goes on in institutions around the state. They want to make you think it's confined just to Baltimore City. But let me come back to the line, 410-761-1592. Good afternoon, caller. You on the State of the City?
Yeah, how you doing, Muhammad?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
How are you, sir? I would like to ask you a question.
Yes.
I understand that Michael Jordan got married this past weekend.
Yes.
Yes. Why is it that these black men, some of them, marry these white women?
Yes, sir.
You know, can you answer that question to me?
I think you know that. I think you know that, bro. They want something that they feel like they never had. You know what I mean? And some will call in and say she's not white. She's an El Blanco Cuban. Well, in Cuba, El Blanco is white. But please continue, brother. Yes, sir.
We can't stay with our own for this. It's just pitiful. You know, when black men do get some type of money,
right,
or quote-unquote status, why do they gravitate to women that don't look like their mothers?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's pitiful.
Right. I agree, brother. Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
appreciate your call. We'll take more of your calls, 410-761-1592, brother. We're talking about Michael Jordan got married this week now. You know, they say love comes in different colors and different shades. You don't know when it's going to hit you, so when love calls, you better answer. So I guess love called, and Michael Jordan answered, man. So I can't get into the mind of Michael Jordan, but you do know the history of all that we've been seeing inside of this country regarding, again, black and white in terms of racism, the placism, and the spacism. So again, let me come back to the line, take more of your thoughts, questions, comments, 410-761-1592. And, man, there's so many more headlines I didn't get into. I saw in the Baltimore Brew where the city just hired a consultant by the name of William Bratton. Now, Chief William Bratton, if you don't know, give me a few days. I'm going to give you that and much more, since he was the head of the police department when Michael Jackson was killed. He ought to be in L.A. under oath right now. Because he left during the time of probably the most crime of the century, the death of Michael Jackson, and he left and went to Virginia, most likely CIA, Langley, Virginia, and now he resurfaces in Oakland, after Oakland is coming off of I believe it was the Oakland was put under receivership, and L.A. following the L.A. riots. And we 21 years since the L.A. riots yesterday. But you better open your eyes to see what they're planning this summer. You 21 years removed from the L.A. riots and rebellions, and they arrested, as Dick Gregory and I have shared with you many times, 18,000 people. But when they went to count them, it was over 8,000 to 10,000 people that they could not account for. So you better keep your eyes open for what they may be planning around this Trayvon Martin trial in Sanford, Florida, and what they may be planning around this country with this economic collapse that's going on right now. And Boston, as I shared with you, is just a prelude. It was just a warm-up of things to come, which I'm going to get back into tomorrow regarding martial law, the rise of the police state, and what they have planned for most of the American people, black, brown, red, yellow, and white. So with that, let me come back to the lines, 410-761-1592. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the State of the City.
Yeah, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. Thoughts, comments, brother?
Yeah, man. That's one reason why I didn't participate in that stuff this morning, man, with the basketball player.
Yes, sir.
You know,
I wouldn't even call him a basketball player. Between him and his brother, I don't think they ever won a BNBL, Project Survival, Optimist, and AAU championship, brother.
It wasn't about that, brother. It's about what you said, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm sick and tired of, these gay folks, getting so much play. And we had on sexual men out here who was trying to do the right thing
right.
sexually to try to help our boys and our young ladies,
Yes, sir.
And